Good afternoon, Don't Unfriend Me Nation. Jimmy Kimmel does the Oscars and does it with a naked guy? What? What kinda? Burning EV cars, they're on fire, literally. A lot of puns this afternoon. And Ted Cruz slays Mayorkas in a 2-minute rant. We got it all for you, 15 seconds.
Do you want the truth? Are you tired of being so confused? You feel like you're more f***ed up than the lies on the evening news. Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss.
Still Point, STIILPOINT, the Don't Unfriend Me band. Find them on iTunes. Jimmy Kimmel. I've went after Jimmy quite a bit. I used to watch The Man Show. And I didn't care that he dressed in blackface as Karl Malone. I didn't care that he subjugated women to sexualization and looked up their skirts as they bounced on trampolines and things to that effect. It was a time that Jimmy Kimmel and Adam Carolla brought masculinity back to a TV show. And although it was in jest, a lot of people didn't like it. Well, now Jimmy's doing something that those people who loved now don't like him. And the question is it hypocritical? Sure it is. Of course you want the people that you have maybe supported in the past to support the things that you like, but I don't have a problem that Jimmy Kimmel doesn't like Donald Trump. No issue whatsoever. What I care about, it is the only thing Jimmy Kimmel lives for. In fact, while he was hosting the Oscars, he read a tweet from Donald Trump and decided to interrupt the show and bring a little comedic value. And whether you don't like his comedy or not, it was a fairly funny pun. But once again, that's not all that Jimmy does. Let's go ahead and watch this.
Everyone, I was just, doing this show is not about me, and I appreciate you having me. It's really about you and Emma and all these great actors and actresses and filmmakers. But I was told we have like an extra minute, and I'm really proud of something. I was wondering if I could share it with you. I just got a review, and has there ever been a worse host than Jimmy Kimmel at the Oscars? His opening was that of a less than average person trying too hard to be something which he is not and never can be. Get rid of Kimmel and perhaps replace him with another washed up but cheap ABC talent, George Slopanopoulos. He would make everybody on stage look bigger, stronger, and more glamorous. Blah, blah, blah. Make America great again. Okay, now, see if you can guess which former president just posted that on Truth. Anyone? No? Well, thank you, President Trump. Thank you for watching. I'm surprised you're still watching. Isn't it past your jail time?
Whether you like him or not, it was funny. But the point is that Jimmy Kimmel, he's not funny. And most of the time that he stands up on his own show, it's all about berating people, saying how stupid they are. Why would you vote for Donald Trump? And he can't see and possibly understand that it's people like him that usually drive people into the arms of Donald Trump. Now, whether you love Kimmel or you hate Trump or you love Trump or you hate Kimmel really isn't important. But Jimmy Kimmel is hiding from his past. And you see moments just leak out once in a while where everything he does isn't really funny. It's just tasteless and rude. And it's pretty darn horrible to human beings. For being as magnanimous as he pretends he is, he certainly can be a downright dick sometimes. Here's an example.
I hope you had a relaxing Labor Day. It was not a fun Labor Day weekend COVID-wise. The number of new cases is up more than 300% from a year ago. Dr. Fauci said that if hospitals get any more overcrowded, they're going to have to make some very tough choices about who gets an ICU bed. That choice doesn't seem so tough to me. Vaccinated person having a heart attack? Yes, come right on in. We'll take care of you. Unvaccinated guy who gobbled horse goo? Rest in peace, Wheezy. I hope you had a relaxing Labor Day.
Once again, wouldn't it be nice if the Oscars could focus on the movies that they make and stop acting like this really makes a difference? And it doesn't. EV cars are hot, but maybe too hot. There was a huge fire in a residential neighborhood for someone who bought an EV Mercedes-Benz. And I will tell you, I don't think this is the type of hot off the press or hot off the market type result that they want. Watch this real quick, and then we'll talk about it when I get back. Looks like a standard house fire, and unfortunately, it is not. This is from an EV fire. So this was an electronic vehicle that went into this residential area, got plugged in, and then decided to go ahead and ignite and catch on fire. This entire house was consumed, and it leads you down the path of asking the question, has this happened with your car, your combustion engine vehicle? I can't ever remember a time. I can't remember a time in a neighborhood. I've lived in a whole bunch of cities and different houses, and I've never seen this. I guess on the bright side, I've always wanted an open concept home. I guess that's one way to get it. But I really don't expect when I call the fire department for them to ask me the question, is this urgent? And say, oh, no, my car's plugged in. I could at least use another 3 hours of charge time before you guys come out and put out this fire. But EVs are not doing well. We understand this. Maybe the reason why is you paid $125K for an EV car, you lose $1 million house in the fire, and you upped your carbon footprint, oh gosh, by at least 100-fold. Good news is Al Gore will take your donation when you get the insurance check and when you go ahead and sue Mercedes, and that should make you guys come down to net zero. We all remember President Biden and infrastructure promised, and in fact, he plagiarized himself 3 times saying about all the charging stations that are coming, yet they're no longer here. This winter was a clear indicator as people waited in line in snowstorms as their batteries didn't perform the way they should. 149% increased dissatisfaction with an EV car versus a combustion engine vehicle. Even crazier than that, 372% increase in customer complaints, demonstrating that there's an issue with their car in the first 1 year of ownership. It's a whole new definition to bumper to bumper. But also this, the high cost to maintain these things. And also a full battery replacement cost 1/3 of the car's price in some of these models. Even if it's 1/5 of the price, it's ridiculous. Nobody wants to buy a brand new engine that quickly. Remember the days when we get to 250,000 miles and Hondas would still keep on going, or Fords, you get to 89,000 and the bottom drops out, but it doesn't matter. It's still more effective than these cars. But we're seeing a decrease in production on these vehicles. You saw Enterprise get rid of almost 100,000 of their EV cars. And the reason why is because the actual jury is saying that the effect on the environment isn't a benefit with the amount of minerals that they have to take out of the ground, the overall production of these vehicles, and the battery life and what to do with them after they're done isn't necessarily floating the bill like they said. The last thing is just the failure rate of these things. We don't have a long enough timeline, so we can't necessarily know if they are truly a benefit or not. It's fair to say that the cost of these are not leveled for most people who are making what they make in the United States. And with the cost of inflation going up constantly and gas prices going up, more people might be inclined to try to buy a vehicle. But does that make much sense? That its cost is going up and gas is going up? Shouldn't you try to grab onto a used vehicle? But here's the interesting thing. The average used vehicle payment is $500. $650 if you want to go ahead and lease. If you want to buy brand new, it's now pushing $800 on a national average. Then you have insurance and maintenance cost. You can't even get a car anymore. Can you imagine if you're a kid working out trying to find a vehicle making $15, $12 an hour? Can you afford a vehicle? Heck, most people, that's what we paid in rent 10 years ago. Joe Biden's America, folks. Much better than you thought it was. Folks, next video. Quick.
Wristbands.
I don't know what they are.
You don't know what they are. Mr. Secretary, you have just testified to the American people you're incompetent at your job, because I've been to the southern border, and if you go to the southern border, along the southern border, you see thousands of these wristbands because the illegal immigrants wear them. The drug cartels, every color corresponds to how many thousands of dollars they owe the cartels. You have turned these cartels into multi-billion-dollar criminal organizations, and these are modern-day leg irons because these are children being sold into sex slavery, and you don't even know what they are. That is astonishing. Mr. Secretary, how many children have been sold into sex slavery under your administration?
Senator, we are taking it to the cartels.
How many children have been sold into sex slavery? Do you know how many children have been sold into sex slavery?
To an unprecedented degree.
Mr. Secretary, I want to say to you right now,
it is precisely
your behavior is disgraceful, and the deaths, the children assaulted, the children raped, they are at your feet, and if you had integrity, you would resign. And I will tell you, the men and women of the Border Patrol, they've never had a political leader undermine them. They despise you, Mr. Secretary, because you're willing to let children be raped to follow political orders. This is a crisis, it's a disgrace, and you won't even admit this human tragedy is a crisis.
What the senator said was revolting. I'm not going to address it.
Gosh, I wish it was that easy. I just don't like the way he's saying things. But the problem is it's true. And it doesn't matter whether Katie Britt looks like a serial killer mom from an after-school special and she was trying out for one of those shows. What she said was true. And we understand that it happened in 2008. We understand it happened in Mexico. But she's actually using, in comparison contrast, things that are happening all over the country, and that the brutality of this falls under the Obama administration and Biden administration, and it's back again. It's not that things like this didn't happen under Trump. It's not that things weren't hard under Trump, and he had a difficult time getting the border deals that he needed to get done in order to lock it down. But what he did do was use his power as president, which executive orders are for, and got the border in place and got reduction. Deportations were down under Donald Trump because illegal crossings slowed down immensely. Look how many deportations Joe Biden did in his first year, and then look at the totality of Donald Trump over those 4 years. Joe Biden beat it in his first year. To sit here and say that Mayorkas is not responsible, he isn't responsible for raping children. We understand that. That's not what Ted Cruz is saying. He's saying you know these things are happening, or more importantly, you don't. And because you don't, you're ineffectual at your job. These numbers can't continue. We can't see millions of people pour into our country with unfettered access. We have something happening overseas that we will see happen in the United States, and that is countries losing their identity, losing their culture, and are being overtaken with illegal crime. We understand that it's not running rampant now. It will, and this is just the beginning and just the start. And the fact that Mayorkas has no idea what's going on there should tell you something, that he's a political stooge. And I got to give hats off to Ted Cruz. I love him when he's like that. He should have done that when he was running for president, and maybe we wouldn't have seen the knuckleheads who were in that office. Folks, thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show. 22 veterans commit suicide a day. It's way too many. Use this number, dial 988, then press 1. Get veterans the help they need, and share this with a swim buddy, a battle buddy, but share it with somebody. Make sure we get the word out. Veterans are a huge part of America, and we've got to help them and take care of them. We'll see you 7 o'clock tonight. I will be on with Olivia Live, and I think Leroy and Amy will be there too. See you at 7.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, Olivia, and Mike. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on the Spreely.tv network and all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.